Bam! How you doing, guys? Yeah, so this is going to be about bare metaling a bonnet or panel, and I'm just going to take you through the whole process of how to do it, the quickest way as well on certain scenarios, and save yourself some materials. But if you watch through to the end, you'll see the finish of the job and it'll speak for itself. But I've painted panels like this before. I've primed them, prepped them and primed them, and over time the sun's cooked it again on test panels and it just goes crazy again. So the best thing to do is take it right back, start fresh with some really good materials that you know of or recommendations, and I'll show you what to do, and it's just gonna be a nice job. How light it is. All right, so as you can see, guys, look how crazy it is. So it's also been painted before. If not, it could be the factory paint. A lot of lacquer does go like this. When it gets so hot, if it's never been coated or treated, it can go like this over time. But by the looks of it, someone's had a go on it with a scouring pad or something over time, and it's just crazed up. If you look at it closely, it's pretty bad. So the only thing is with this is you take it right back to bare metal, and then start the whole process over again. So guys, this is the paint strip I've got from Car Paint Warehouse. It's called Starchum Sin Strip Paint Stripper. So you've probably used it before, but back in the day, I used to use one called Nitro Moors. You'd put it on your skin or anything, it'd hurt, it'd burn. But because they've taken all the chemicals out of it to be environmental friendly, it just doesn't work too well. So this is the best one I've used at the moment. But I'll show you my little trick, what I do, and it just makes it work twice as fast. What I've got is these 80 grit sandpaper. So I don't want to scratch the metal, because obviously you've got to try and get the 80 grits out then before the next process. So what I'll do is I'll go over, put some scratches all across the panel, put the paint stripper on after I've masked the back edge, and I'm going to cover it with some plastic sheeting to basically suffocate the product inside so it sort of goes into the panel, and it just works. Honestly, it works so quick. So I'll show you it anyway, guys. All right, so now that's keyed up, what I've done is as well, I've done a test patch here. So as you can see, I think you can see it on camera, there's bare metal, etch primer, then you've got your primer as well, high build primer, base coat, and then your clear coat. So I'm hoping this comes off pretty quick. From my experience, this should come off pretty quick. And what I do next is I back mask the whole panel, I put the paint stripper over the top, make sure you got gloves on, and then I put the sheet on over the top so then it doesn't go underneath. And then I can smear it across on top of it as well. So guys, I'll do a time lapse to see, hopefully it crazes up. It looks pretty cool when it happens. So this is the tape I use, it's called Q1. Honestly, I've been using it for a while now. It's really good. So yeah, just back mask the edge like this, push it on there nice. All right, so that's ready, guys. I can put the paint stripper on now, then the sheet in. Yeah, I always give this stuff a shake as well. So yeah, this is it, guys. If you look at it now, yeah, I just put my sheeting down on the floor, pour this on the top, and get that on as quick as possible. And then I'll mount it and do a time lapse and see if you can see it. All right, guys, so I use a spreader card to just spread it across, pour a bit on there. Obviously, the more you get on there, the quicker it does it, but then you're using quite a lot of product. All right, just spread it across, get it on there as quick as you can. It's pretty cold, so it won't evaporate quick anyway. All right, guys, I've kept it away from the edges a bit, because once you put the sheet on, you can like push it across with your hands. So I'm going to put the sheet on now. You might have to do it twice, but see how it goes. Not the sheet, but the paint stripper. Right, so guys, this is the fun stage. You can see, if I push it around, you can see the paint sort of lifted. And if you look here, you can see that's bare metal. So hopefully it's done a pretty good job, but it doesn't always go that well, but let's see how it's gone. Yeah, look at that already. Yeah, it hasn't done too bad, guys, look at that. Might give it one more go with the paint stripper. Look at that, guys, that's come off so good. Yeah, look at it, guys, it's all come off pretty good. Obviously near the edges, I don't want to go too close to the edge because I don't want it to creep round. And what I do next is just scrape off what I can. Use a plastic spreader as well, don't use a metal one. Yeah, so if you've got loads of layers on the bonnet, guys, it doesn't always come off this well. So you might have to do it a couple of times. I'm going to make a decision now whether I do it again on the other bits or I just sand it off. Alright, so all the paint's DA'd off the edges now with a 120. Now I'm going to use a 180 on a soft pad to basically get any scratches out of the panel. This is an aluminium bonnet, so the scratches come out pretty easy. But I'm going to go over the whole bonnet with a 180. That's what it says on the data sheet you can go over with the epoxy. And if you leave the epoxy for a certain amount of time, obviously down to your data sheet and temperature, you can go straight over with the primer after it's flashed. But I'm going to leave it overnight because I want to come in the next day, make sure there's no bits in the epoxy. Then I'm going to go over with the 2-pack primer. Then I'm going to go over with the HB primer, which is a high build primer. I'm going to be using black also. Because the car's a dark colour, I kind of like to use dark colours because if you get stone chips or anything, at least there's not going to be grey primer underneath. So yeah, let's crack on, guys. Alright, so now it's fully bare metaled and finished in 180. We need to get an epoxy prime on it as soon as possible because obviously you don't want to get any moisture on the panel. So I don't care what anyone says, you want to get an epoxy on it as soon as possible. So let's get it in the booth. Okay, so I'm using an Octral epoxy primer, and then tomorrow morning what I'm going to do is put the high build primer on. So I want to get this on now, and I want to get it on nice and thin. So I just want to put one thin coat down, and then it'd be nice and smooth for tomorrow, and I can check it for any nibs as well. This is a 2-to-1 mix with 15% thinners. Make sure you still give it a degrease. I've obviously checked if there's any dents in the panel as well, and there's none. So give it a quick degrease, and then it's ready for the epoxy. That's come out awesome. It's so nice and smooth. So basically it's still on the window to overcoat, but the thing is, I'm still going to give it a light scotch just because of my OCD or anxiety. I just want to make sure it's still keyed, and then yeah, I'm going to put some 2-pack primer on it now. Alright, so before I do the high build primer, I've got to do a spray out card for obviously the shade of the paint, but that's for another video, another topic. But yeah, I've got 3 different shades of the colour, so I'm going to spray out the standard shade first, and these are all the tinters I got to use to mix the paint. But I'm going to spray out the standard shade, check it. If it's obviously too dark, too light, then I can spray out the darker one and the lighter one, etc. So yeah, let's get this done, get my colour matched, and then I can put the 2K primer on. So this is what you call a spray out card. So what I do is tape it to the trestle, you put 1 coat over it. If it doesn't cover, obviously it probably won't cover on the first coat, then a second coat, and then you need to get rid of the squares basically. And if it does not cover by the second, you do a third. Some colours require a ground coat, like a grey, like the door. White, depending on what it is, but you just need to go to your sort of method manual, not method manual, but you need to sort of go on the data sheet of each colour. Alright, so I got my 2-pack primer now, which is obviously black. So I'll get this mixed up quickly and get my coats on. I've already tacked it off again. Got a 2-pack primer in here, and what I've done is, there was a slight burn through around the edge, so what I've done is I put a bit of etch primer around it. Now I'm ready to go. I've got a bit of the man flu as well, so I sound a bit ugh. But yeah, the best way to spray this is if you toot it up, and then pop, pop. Okay. Yeah, so do all your edges first, and then work your way from one side over, and then pull it over the other side. So basically you're keeping it wet all the way across. So if you start from the middle and pull it this way, the time you've gone round, that might be dry and it won't flow in nice. So I've mixed it down so it's a nice thin coat. I'm going to put about probably 2 coats down because it's a straight bonnet. I don't have to do too much on it afterwards. So yeah, let's get it primed. Alright guys, on to the next stage. Sorry if I sound like Darth Vader. I'm suffering with the man flu at the moment, and I can't just call in sick because I'm self-employed. Even though I wouldn't call in sick for a man flu, but anyway, next stage. So at the moment what I'm doing is a heat cycle on the primer because I want to paint it quicker. I'm basically just doing it hot, cold, making it contract, making sure the primer pulls back as tight as it can. And then I'm going to block it now with a 320, block it with a 500, and then soft pad 800 DA. Obviously I want to be careful with my edges because I don't want to burn through them. Because it's come out so smooth, it's actually I'm not going to need to take a lot off of it basically. So anyway, I'm going to stop mumbling on because I can't talk properly because I can't breathe. But let's get on to the next stage. So I got my soft pad with the 320 on it for the curves. Oh yeah, someone stitched me up with some pipes as well. Jesus. I don't know who done that. Oh, that's better. Drive me crazy. Alright, so now it's finished off at 800. I've got a little burn through here, but that's the epoxy primer, so it's not that bad. It's not bare metal, so that's fine. So I'll basically put a light coat on those first to seal it in, and now I'm going to put the degreaser on. When you put the degreaser on, guys, make sure you kind of wipe it off the panel. You know what I mean? Don't start going like this, because you kind of move anything around on the panel. So try and bring it from like one side to the other, and then so on. I've obviously masked the back up as well, and I've done a soft edge all around the back as well. Alright, it's ready, guys. All I got to do now is get the temperature up in the booth, tack it off, put some bits on the burn throughs, and then ready to go for the base coat. Yeah, this video is not a tutorial how to paint. It's obviously the main thing is the bare metal process. But when you put your first coat on, make sure you rub any nibs out. I've got about 2. In the base coat. When it's your first coat, make sure you rub it out. Second coat, obviously tack it in between coats. And then your last one, when you do drop coat, you can't touch it. So I'm just going to quickly take this little one out here. And there's another one, I don't know, around there somewhere, but I'll find it. And then I'll put my next coat on. Alright guys, I got there in the end. So guys, I've got a nice consistent finish across the whole bonnet, but even though when you try to be clean as possible, you always get the odd nibs. Obviously I ain't got a state-of-the-art booth, I can't afford a 30, 40 grand booth at the moment. But I try to be as clean as possible. But yeah, my next stage, I'm not supposed to be showing you how to do flat and polishing in this video. If you do want to see a video like that, drop in the comments below and I'll do that in the next one. But I just wanted to show you the stages of how to do a bare metal finish. And once I get it polished up on that, I'll show you the finish of it. And yeah, it's come out really well, so I'll just get my polishing done and we'll get it on the car. Yeah guys, that came out sick, man. I really enjoyed doing this because it went straight forward, touch wood. And I hope you guys enjoyed it as well and you learned a little bit. If you need any tips or tricks, drop in the comments down below and I'll answer them as quick as I can. I've got a lot of cool projects on the go at the moment, so I'm going to stick to those for now. Maybe a lot of JDM stuff, American, and some other bits and bobs. But guys, smash the subscribe button if you can, and that'll help out a lot with the channel. I'm going to keep putting videos up for you guys and I hope to grow it. Cheers.